Hello and welcome back to Asia Now. My name is Alex, and in this video I'll tell you about a 65-year-old American man arrested in Japan for misbehaving, the US to provide additional 195 million pesos for typhoon aid to the Philippines, more expats misbehaving in Thailand, including men wearing dresses, Nigerian scams, and Indians them. So a lot of stuff going on in this video. Stick around till the end where I share some of the most popular comments. Plus, I'm going to tell you guys about my other video on my main channel, which I think you might want to watch. Before we get started, I almost forgot, not because I don't appreciate it, but because I always read the news first and I don't think of myself to the end. I want to give a big thank you to the people that bought me a coffee, 10 coffee from someone anonymous, and another 5 from Paul. So thank you guys so much. Of course, your donations, your support means a lot to me. I appreciate every single one of you guys for watching. And of course, I don't expect it, or please don't feel obligated to, but any support to the channel via buy me a coffee or super thanks goes a long way to help me continue doing these kinds of things, because they are very time consuming. So I'm hoping that I can continue making these videos. But anyway, that's a lot of talk for the beginning, but I want to thank you guys for those coffees. So let's go straight into our main story. And I want to thank Raul for emailing me this story, actually, so thank you. A 65-year-old American man named Stephen Hayes was arrested in Tokyo for allegedly defacing the Meiji Jingu Shrine, one of Japan's most significant Shinto sites. I'm sure I butchered that name. Hayes, who arrived in Japan on November 11th with his family for vacation, reportedly used his fingernails to scratch 5 letters into the Torii Gate at around 11:20 a.m. on November 12th, claiming he was writing family members' names as a prank. The damage, measuring approximately 5 centimeters by 6 centimeters, was discovered by shrine staff later that day, prompting them to notify the police, who arrested Hayes the following morning. This incident is part of troubling trend of vandalism in Japanese shrines, as just days prior, kanji characters resembling the word for death were found etched into another Torii Gate at the same shrine. Authorities are investigating the potential charges against Hayes, while emphasizing that such behavior is not tolerated in Japan, where respect for cultural heritage is paramount. Come on, man. Even like kids know Japanese people are some of the nicest, kindest, most disciplined, civil people in the world, and you go over there and sketching your name. What are you doing? You're 65 years old, man. Come on, grow up. I genuinely hope that Japan makes an example of this guy and puts him to jail for as long as possible, so people in the future will not feel the urge to sketch your family name into side of something historical, significant, in a culture and a country that does not belong to you. Some real important news about the weather, right? So the State Weather Bureau of the Philippines cautioned the public that Papito, international name Man-yi, which intensifies into typhoon, is very dangerous tropical cyclone. Quote, the next 24 hours are critical. Papito moves really fast. Papito was located 630 kilometers east of Guyuan, eastern Samar, as 10 a.m. Areas that are likely to be affected are Eastern Visayas, Bicol region, and Central Luzon and Quezon as well. And President Marcos Jr. assessed the impact of the typhoons Papito, Ophel, and Nika during the situation briefing at the National Disaster Risk Reduction and Management Council. Joining the president were several other people. President Marcos Jr. has gone ahead and try to organize this whole situation when it comes to typhoons, as the Philippines gets hit so many times. He wants to have like a task force and also prepare better before it actually happens, preventative instead of reacting to it. And speaking of typhoon, the United States government will provide an additional 196 million pesos in financial aid to communities affected by the impacts of Tropical Storm Christine. Speaking of the US and presidential stuff, let's talk about the president-elect. Donald Trump aims to remove what he calls, quote, wokeness from schools, including banning lessons on identity and structural racism, barring trans athletes in girls' sports, and abolishing diversity offices. Thank goodness. I'm all for that. That stuff's getting really out of hand, especially in Canada, man. People, look, man, I don't care what you believe in. Do what you want. Do whatever you want, but don't force me to believe in what you believe in, right? Like, that's just ridiculous. Especially in kids in school. Like, I don't know what's going on, but like, I know people that have kids that are in school that have to pull them out and just literally move to another country because they couldn't stand having the kids go to the public school system because they couldn't afford private schooling, basically, right? So some of that stuff is getting really out of hand, and I don't like this agenda they keep pushing about this stuff. You guys all know what I'm talking about, the HDTV people. Like, do what you want in your own private home as an adult. Don't force that shit on me or kids that are like just learning the foundations of being a person, let alone. Let's move on to our next story. Speaking of men pretending to be women, or women pretending to be men, or men dressed as whatever, foreign tourists in Phuket have come under fire for the dangerous actions on tuk-tuks and buses. Photos shared by the Phuket Times show tourists dancing and leaning out of moving vehicles, raising alarms about safety and drawing criticism for the lack of police enforcement. While some defend the tourists' actions, others warn of potential hazards. The online responses highlights a growing concern over the increasing frequency of such incidents in Phuket. Who are the people defending this nonsense? I mean, you're not kids anymore, you're grown-ass people. Like, I don't understand if teenagers, for example, start sketching their names into side of, like, historical monuments, or start, like, hanging their out the window of a jeepney or something. All right, you're a teenager, we've all done stupid things. But as a grown man, what are you doing, bro? Come on, grow up, go do something else. Go take that adrenaline to, like, cliff diving or skydiving or some other stuff. That's just my personal opinion. I'm not perfect, but it's just really a bad image for expats, tourists like myself. People start looking at you and just grouping everybody together, right? Because we always remember the negative stuff a lot more than the positive stuff. Speaking of negative expats and foreigners, a Nigerian leader of Thai fraud syndicate arrested in a 50 million baht scam and a significant anti-fraud crackdown. Thailand's Department of Special Investigation has apprehended a Nigerian man accused of masterminding a multi-million baht fraud operation involving horse accounts. The operation, named Operation Black Horse Down, targeted criminal networks involved romance scams, call center fraud, and trafficking. With assistance from the AMLO, the DSI arrests 6 individuals, and investigations are ongoing to trace financial flows and seize assets. I mean, I don't want to stereotype people, but the Nigerian prince looks like has moved to Thailand. Next up, Indian tourist injured in outside Pattaya convenience store. An Indian tourist, Mr. Anand Chandok, sustained serious injuries following a confrontation outside a convenience store in Pattaya. The incident began when he had a dispute with the store staff over a purchase, which escalated into an altercation outside. Reports suggest that the store employees called in an outsider to intervene. Leading to the incident, police are now reviewing CCTV footage and identifying the people who did this to him. I have a feeling we're going to keep hearing more and more stories regarding Indian tourists specifically, because right now they got like a 90-day free visa. Before they had to apply for a visa. So there's a high influx of Indians into Thailand, especially as India's economy is becoming one of the most strongest economies in the world. I believe it might be like top 5 by now. And it's just simple math. They got a whole bunch of people, and a lot of them are starting to like get a little bit of money and start traveling a little bit. A lot similar to China when they became, or they got out of that whole economic boom, and a lot of people start traveling. So this might be a problem in the future, but let's keep an eye on that as well. Next up, Malaysia plans to send protest note to the Philippines regarding its new maritime laws, which overlap with Malaysia's claims in the South China Sea. The law in question, Philippines Maritime Zones Act and Archipelagic Sea Lanes Act, aims to assert Manila's maritime rights, but also touch on Malaysia's claims over the state of Sabah and Borneo. Malaysia's Deputy Foreign Minister Muhammad Al-Min confirmed that the protest emphasizing the country's commitment to defending Sabah's sovereignty. This follows a similar complaint from China over the same laws, which the Philippines argues strengthens its territorial integrity. I know Sabah is a big hot point topic. I don't know the history of it, but I know there's big claims from the Philippines that Sabah belongs to them. But Malaysia and maybe even Indonesia, I'm not really sure, are saying that it does not. Don't quote me on that. Please do your own research if you're curious about that. I know a lot of Filipino people want Sabah to be Filipino, but the people of Sabah, I know from what I've read in the past, they consider themselves Malaysian or not Filipino. So, I mean, if I was a Philippines country, actually, I can't really say that because I don't know, I'm not a country. But as a person, as an individual, I would never want to be in a place I'm not wanted. But there's a big difference between my feelings and like a country and territory and land, right? Obviously. So let me go ahead and backtrack that statement. But regardless, that's I should really look into that. I've been meaning to look into the Sabah situation. I know there was a ruling, but yeah. Besides the point, now it's time for a segment called Yesterday Today, where I share some of the most popular comments regarding our previous video. Before I do that, I just released a really bad day for me on my main channel, and a lot of you guys wanted to know what is the name of my main channel. I didn't want to include it in this channel because I want that to grow naturally, organically. Same with this channel. But if you guys are curious about my main channel, my travels, adventures in the Philippines and other Asian countries, it's called Living Abroad. I've left the link in the description. I've left the link in the comment section. Go ahead and check out my latest video if you guys want. And yeah, so that's that. You guys asked, I delivered. And let's go into our comments. A lot of you guys, actually probably 90% of the comments was regarding that dude, Somali, Johnny Somali, and everybody wants him to go to prison. So you know what? I'm not even gonna read like specific comments. I'm just gonna put them all up here. You guys can pause it if you want. take a look at it. A lot of people are for this dude to get a severe punishment for misbehaving in a foreign country, in a foreign land. And that's gonna wrap up our video today. I'll try to reach you guys tomorrow or Sunday at some point, because I know Monday this week I was late with the video. So if I have some time, I'll make a video for you guys. If I don't, I'll see you guys on Monday. I hope you have a wonderful weekend. I hope you have a great time, whatever you're doing. If you're not feeling very energetic, send me a message, email me at talknowcanada@gmail.com. Anything you want to share. I genuinely value you guys watching these videos. It makes me really happy when I see a video do really well, because it shows me you guys are finding this kind of stuff informative. You find value in it, and it's kind of like my outlet as well. So it's like a tit for tat, or tit for tat, right? Titty tat. See you guys in the next video. Bye.